The first thing people noticed about him was the silence that followed him everywhere. Not the peaceful kind, but a heavy, uncomfortable quiet that made waiters hesitate and strangers look away. He sat alone at the corner table of the most expensive restaurant in the city, a place filled with soft piano music, clinking glasses, and low laughter that never reached him. To the world, he was Victor Hale, a reclusive millionaire. To himself, he was just a man surrounded by noise he could never hear. Carrying a loneliness money had failed to silence. Victor had lost his hearing years ago in an accident that also took his parents. Overnight, sound vanished, and with it went his sense of belonging. People still talked, still smiled, still lived loudly, but he watched it all from behind an invisible wall. Wealth came later, built through relentless work and sharp instincts. But success only widened the distance between him and everyone else. Business partners respected him, employees feared him, and the media painted him as cold and unapproachable. No one ever wrote about the nights he ate alone, watching conversations unfold like silent films he couldn't understand. That evening, the restaurant shimmered with luxury. Candles flickered. Couples leaned close. Friends toasted milestones. Victor stared at his untouched plate, his thoughts heavier than the polished silverware. He wasn't hungry, but he came anyway, following a routine that made him feel briefly human. Eating at home felt like admitting defeat, like surrendering to the silence completely. Here, at least, he could pretend to be part of the world. Across the room, a woman pushed a cleaning cart quietly along the walls. Her name was Maria. She wore a faded uniform and moved carefully, as if trying not to disturb anyone important. Life had taught her how to be invisible. She worked nights cleaning offices, mornings cleaning restaurants, and spent her afternoons caring for her 6-month-old baby. Noah, his father, had disappeared before Noah was born, leaving Maria with nothing but exhaustion and fierce love. That night, Maria had no choice but to bring Noah with her. The babysitter had canceled, and missing a shift meant losing money she desperately needed for rent. She tucked Noah into a small carrier against her chest, hoping he would sleep through the evening. For a while, he did. She wiped tables, emptied bins, and avoided eye contact with diners who might complain. Her arms ached, her back burned, but she kept going. She always did. Victor noticed her not because she was loud, but because she reminded him of something he couldn't quite name. Maybe it was the way she worked without complaint, or the tired kindness in her eyes. When Noah stirred and began to fuss, Maria froze, panic flashing across her face. She gently rocked him, whispering apologies he could hear, but Victor could only imagine. Other diners frowned. A manager glanced over, irritation clear dot. Then something unexpected happened. Noah twisted in his carrier and stretched his tiny hand outward. His fingers brushed the edge of Victor's table. The baby let out a soft giggle, a sound Victor could not hear but somehow felt. He looked down, startled, and met the wide, curious eyes of a child staring at him, as if he were the most interesting thing in the room. For the first time that evening, Victor smiled. Maria rushed over, mortified. She bowed her head, mouthing apologies rapidly, afraid she would be fired on the spot. Victor watched her lips move, reading fragments he'd learned over years of practice. "Sorry, baby. Please." He raised his hand gently, signaling her to stop. She hesitated, confused. Victor pointed to the empty chair across from him, then to Noah, then back to himself. Maria's eyes widened. She shook her head, certain she was misunderstanding. No one like him invited someone like her to sit. Ever. Victor tried again. Slower this time, a small encouraging smile on his face. He took out his phone and typed a simple message, turning the screen toward her. "Please, sit. You're not disturbing me." Tears stung Maria's eyes as she carefully lowered herself into the chair, still holding Noah. Around them, the restaurant seemed to fade away. Noah reached out again, grabbing Victor's finger with surprising strength. Victor felt a warmth spread through his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. The baby didn't see a rich man or a deaf man. He saw a face, a presence, someone worth smiling at. They sat there for a while in shared silence. Victor ate slowly, occasionally glancing at Noah, who watched him with fascination. Maria relaxed, her shoulders dropping as exhaustion finally surfaced. She hadn't realized how badly she needed to sit, to breathe, to be seen. Victor typed again, asking her name, her baby's name, her story. She answered softly, carefully, learning to speak with her hands, her expressions, her patience. As Maria talked, Victor felt something inside him shift. Her life was hard in ways money couldn't fix easily. She spoke of missed meals, of working double shifts, of worrying constantly about the future. Yet she smiled when she talked about Noah, her voice full of hope he couldn't hear but could see clearly. It reminded him of his mother, who had smiled the same way even when life was cruel. Other diners watched, puzzled. The millionaire who always ate alone was sharing his table with a cleaning lady and her baby. Some whispered, some judged. Victor didn't notice. For once, he wasn't aware of the silence. He was present, connected, alive. When Noah began to cry again, louder this time, Maria panicked, ready to stand and leave. Victor gently shook his head. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small silver spoon, sliding it across the table. Noah grabbed it instantly, distracted, his tears stopping as quickly as they'd started. Victor laughed silently, his shoulders shaking, his eyes bright. It felt good. It felt human. That simple moment changed something fundamental in him. After dinner, Victor paid the bill, and then some, slipping a generous tip under his plate. He typed another message, his fingers hesitating before he finished. Would you like help? Not charity, just help. Maria stared at the words, pride and desperation battling inside her. She thought of overdue bills, of Noah's future, of how tired she was. Slowly, she nodded. What began as a dinner turned into a quiet friendship. Victor arranged for Maria to work fewer hours for better pay at one of his companies, in a role that respected her dignity. He helped her enroll in night classes she'd always dreamed of taking. He never framed it as saving her. He framed it as investing in someone who mattered. In return, Maria gave Victor something priceless. She brought Noah to visit him regularly. The baby grew, learned to crawl, then walk, always greeting Victor with the same unfiltered joy. Through Noah, Victor relearned expressions, laughter, connection. He found himself practicing sign language again, not out of necessity, but out of desire. He began opening up, letting people into his carefully guarded world. Months passed, and word spread. The deaf millionaire wasn't cold. He was kind. He wasn't distant. He was listening in his own way. Employees noticed changes first. Victor smiled more. He stayed longer. He asked about their lives. His company culture shifted, becoming warmer, more humane. Kindness, once foreign to his professional image, became his quiet legacy. One evening, a year after that first dinner, Victor returned to the same restaurant. This time, he wasn't alone. Maria sat beside him, confident now, her eyes brighter. Noah toddled between them, laughing at something only he understood. Other diners smiled openly. The silence around Victor felt different now. It wasn't isolating. It was peaceful. Victor looked at the child who had unknowingly cracked open his guarded heart. A baby who didn't care about wealth, status, or disability. A baby who reached out without fear and reminded him what connection felt like. In that moment, Victor understood something profound. Kindness doesn't need sound. It doesn't need words. It only needs someone brave enough to reach out, and someone willing to receive. As the night ended, Victor typed one last message on his phone and showed it to Maria. Thank you for letting me be part of your world. She smiled, tears falling freely, and squeezed his hand. Noah clapped, delighted by the simple closeness of the moment. And maybe that's the lesson that stays with us. Sometimes, the smallest act, the quietest gesture, the most unexpected connection can change a life forever. Kindness has a way of finding the cracks in our walls and turning them into doors. If this story touched your heart, let it remind you to look again at the people you might be overlooking, to choose empathy over judgment, to believe that even in silence, love speaks loudest. If you felt something today, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe to Kindness Talks, and share this story with someone who might need a reminder that kindness, no matter how small, can change everything.